Hello, my name's Jared. I'm here to talk to you today about the interpretation of visions and dreams. This is something that's been happening for thousands of years. If you read the Bible, there's hundreds of examples of the Lord speaking to his children through visions and dreams. I believe it's also something of a lost language. And through working very hard at this for many years, I have established an open line of communication from the Lord where he talks to me very directly. I've also had a variety of friends that I've worked through on this process, and they have had the same experiences. So there are multiple witnesses, and let me just start you off by telling you a story. So I was in jail, and another individual was put into my cell, my cellmate, and his name was Cody. Cody was a skinhead. He was covered from head to toe in all kinds of hate tattoos up onto his neck, face, hands. Giant swastika covered his back. And I thought this should be interesting. Immediately when we were in the cell together, we were watching some TV through the door, and there was a homosexual couple that was on the TV, and he started complaining that it was the Jewish people who ran Hollywood who was making television homosexual, and he was just making very anti-Semitic remarks, and like they blamed the Jews for everything, and it kind of provoked me a little bit. So my response to him was, "I'm a Jew." He looked sharply at me, and what he said was, "No, you're not." So that's how me and Cody got started. In his religion, he would have never done time with somebody who's Jewish. It would have led to a violent attack. However, the Lord was there with us, so let me tell you what happened next. Me and Cody sat around chit-chatting, and the conversation quickly went to near-death experiences. So Cody told me about some near-death experiences he had. I had shared some of my own, and he had actually had some pretty interesting visions in that moment where he was near death. And I told him, I'm very familiar with visions. The Lord talks to me all the time through visions and dreams, every single night. And he's talking to me, coaching me, counseling me, working with me. It's all very obvious. There's nothing cryptic about it, or like these crazy dreams you don't understand. The Lord, the more you do this, the more the Lord will just come out from behind the veil and just talk to you very openly about your life, your future, everything. So when I explained this to Cody, his immediate response was, "I want a God dream." And I said, "Okay, well, if you're serious." When I started this process, someone told me to follow 3 steps. The first step was, you need to seek the Lord. I said one simple simple thing that you can do to seek the Lord would be to read your Bible. If you read the Bible, it's a form of seeking Him, trying to get to know Him. I said step 2, you're going to need to exercise some faith. I said, easy way to do that is when you're reading your Bible and you come across something that's very far-fetched, for you to just try to dismiss that out of your mind, to keep an open mind, and to tell yourself something like, do I know for a fact it didn't happen? Because if you don't, then perhaps it did happen, perhaps it didn't. Just leave an open mind. A very small step of faith. And I said, for the third thing, we want to try and put sin away from us for a while. I'm not talking about change your life full-on repentance. I'm just talking about giving the Lord an opportunity to enter into your vessel more fully by living in a more clean way, and also you're offering Him something else. You're offering Him a sacrifice of your sin for a period of time. So these were the 3 steps, and when I invited him to work through this with me, At first he said, I'm curious, but I don't really want to do all that, so I don't think so. Anyways, so Cody went to sleep that night, and he woke up in the morning. He had had a very vivid dream. He woke me up. He was kind of unnerved, and he told me about his dream. His first dream, I titled it Hand Cannon. So Cody was hanging out with his skinhead buddies, and they were all standing in a circle in the driveway with a driveway covering shade above the driveway. And so they're all standing in a circle and they're chit-chatting, and they all have guns, and they start pulling out their guns and they're showing them off, and they're comparing them to each other. And one of his buddies reaches into his backpack and he pulls out a very large gun. The gun has 4 barrels on it, 4 large barrels. You can put 4 large rounds in the gun, close it, and when you fire the weapon, it fires all 4 rounds at the same time. They were very impressed by this gun. They were all talking about it, getting excited. They wanted to look at it. They pointed the gun up in the air. They fired it off, and right after they had fired it off, they started hearing gunshots fire. So gunshots were firing, and bullet holes were coming down through the roof of the carport. Immediately, they all were terrified, and they started running and jumping and hiding in different directions, but the bullets just kept raining down and coming down through the carport. They were all terrified. They knew they were going to die. They were overwhelmed. And then Cody woke up. And I said, okay, I'll tell you what your dream means. The Lord has started off by talking to you about something that's very, very important in your life. He wants to talk to you about something that's not good, something that's dangerous for you. So it's a warning. He wants to talk to you about your violence and how you value your violence. You see, that giant gun represents an incredible amount of violence, aggression, anger, power in violence. It's something that you share in your gang community. But this is what the Lord has to say. That when you exercise that violence, when you shoot that gun in the air, you're actually not just firing it towards someone, you're actually firing it towards heaven. It's an assault on heaven itself. And that if you continue to do so, that the Lord will rain down his wrath upon you from heaven, and that you will be in terror, you will be afraid for your life, and you will be subject to that same type of violence being reflected back to you. I said, this is a warning. This is about your future. This is the first most important thing the Lord wanted to talk to you about. It'll probably save your life if you take it seriously. He was curious about it because he just hadn't dreamed in forever. It was a very vivid dream. And while he didn't really fully believe me or anything, he was curious. After that, I was participating in a fast. And when he saw that I wasn't eating, he asked me about it. And I said, the fast I'm doing is basically, I'll call it a multiplier. So I want the Lord to talk to me even more, with even stronger messages, but I feel that the fast, for all the things that I'm already doing to receive from the Lord, that if I do a fast, it will have a multiplying effect for me to be able to receive. And Cody said, I'd be willing to do that. I said, really? Well, okay. I typically fast for about 2 days, no food, no water. And he said, yeah, I can do it. No big deal. I said, okay. So we started fasting, and we fasted for the first day, and Cody had his second dream. In his second dream, you know what? I think I'll cover it later. But it was warning him about his gang affiliations, but it also made a promise to him that as he grew close to the Lord, that he would be protected from the harm of those gang affiliations. We fasted on the second day. On the second day, Cody was getting very exhausted of the fast. He didn't want to do it anymore. We actually arm wrestled to see if he would continue his fast or not, because he was ready to quit. And Cody's a great big guy, really muscular. I'm a fairly large man. I'm not incredibly muscular. I won the arm wrestling match. he he was determined to honor his word at that point. There was maybe 6 or 8 hours left of the fast, and I had taken a nap. When I woke up, I saw him getting ready to eat. He had prepared a meal, and he simply said to me, I'm done. I'm not I'm not doing this anymore." So I said, okay, it's all right. I said, let's end the fast together. So we sat down. I said a prayer for us real quick to end our fast. We ended the fast, and he ate his meal. That night he had a dream. In his next dream, Cody found himself at his old home where he used to live, where his parents lived. As he looked at the house, he could see his mother through the kitchen window. Cody loves his mother so much. He gets really excited about her. He's such a mama's boy, even for like a super tough guy. And so he sees his mother, and he goes running towards the window. He gets her attention. He's like, Mom, hey, like, I'm here. Like, I'm going to come around. I'm going to come inside. And she looks up at him, and she says, no, I don't want you to come in. And he was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And she says, you break things. Cody felt deeply injured by her denying him entrance. So he became furious. He responded by saying, you want to see me break things? So he came around to the front of the house, and he started beating on the door, beating on the screen door, and all of a sudden, the front door broke. It swung open off the hinge, and part of the bottom of the door snapped off and was stuck in the dirt. Cody was mortified. He didn't mean to break the door. He didn't know he was hitting it quite that hard. He felt really bad, so immediately he started trying to fix the door. And that's when his father walked out of the house, and he stopped him. And he said, no, it's okay, I've got it. So his father takes the door, sets it back, and then he takes the bottom portion of the door, he pulls it out of the dirt, and he carries it into the house. And at this point, Cody was invited into the house, which he went in and enjoyed time with his parents. And then he woke up. So he woke up, and he was deeply affected by this dream because it was so vivid and so real. And so he told me about it. And so I said to him, Cody, when your mother told you you break things, I said, have you broken anything recently? And it just came to his mind sharply. And he said, my fast. I broke my fast. I committed to it, and then I broke it early. And I said, yeah, you did. And when that happened, you were no longer invited into the house of not your real parents, but it's symbolic. It's your spiritual parents. You're no longer welcome in their home or invited in. So as you went around and you started banging on the front door and you broke the front door is this thing that you broke in the dream, and it's symbolic of what you broke in real life. That was the fast. And as you wanted to fix it, your father stopped you, and the part that was broken off, the damaged part of your fast, the Lord actually kind of helped it, fixed it, and he received a portion of that broken fast that you'd meant to offer. And at that point, since he received your fast, a portion of it, he talked to you about it in a dream, and you were invited in, and you got to enjoy the company of your spiritual parents. This made Cody even more interested. Still far from convinced. He became more interested. Cody actually started reading his Bible. So he started reading his Bible. I put him on, I had him start in, I think it was 1 Samuel, or maybe just before that. So he starts reading. He actually gets into the story, and he's enjoying the story. And so as he is reading his Bible through the evening, enjoying the story, that night he goes to sleep, and he has his next dream. His next dream I've titled Convenient Jesus. So Cody walks into a convenience store, like a liquor store. He's looking around. He finds a pack of cigarettes, puts it on the counter. He pays for it, and he's getting ready to leave the store. He turns around and he starts thinking about if there's anything else that he wants there. And the clerk said to him, "Do you want to put Jesus down?" Cody looked over at him, confused, and like, "Excuse me?" And so the clerk says to him again, "Do you want to put Jesus down?" Cody was thinking about it like, what is this guy talking about? And so the clerk kind of gestured behind Cody, and Cody looked behind himself, and sure enough, stretched out on the floor behind him, he saw Jesus, just laying there, in his white robes, laying on his back. His eyes were open, and he was looking at Cody, like, "What do you want to do?" Cody sees him, and immediately he's like in shock. He's like, "Jesus, like, I can't believe you're here. Like, this is crazy. Like, you're really here. Like, right now, like, why are you laying on the floor? Like, come on, get up." And he hears the clerk say to him again, "Do you want to put Jesus down?" And he whips back and he looks at this clerk and he's like, What is your problem?" And then it hits him and he's thinking about it. And he's like, "Oh, the clerk's asking me, do I want to put Jesus down as some type of like credit card, like a payment? So for anything that he wants in the store, for anything he wants in the world, he could put Jesus up, he could offer up Jesus as like a credit to purchase, he could trade that for anything that he wants." So he thinks about it for a second and he's like, No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to trade Jesus for anything. He's like, ignores the clerk. He's like, "Jesus, like, come on, let's get up off the floor. Like, come on, let's go hang out." And so he helps Jesus up, and then Cody wakes up. Cody wakes up in a fit. He jumps off of his bunk and he shakes me awake. He's super excited. He can't wait to tell me what happened. So he tells me the dream, and I talked to him about the interpretation. I said, the Lord just visited you. You had an actual visitation with him. And the question that was posed to you was, how much is he worth to you? You could go after all kinds of different things in the world, but you're going to have to give up Jesus to do it. Going after all kinds of things that aren't good. Cody was changed at that moment. He was overwhelmingly convinced. And in the hundreds of dreams that followed after that, where the Lord spoke to him very directly about other issues that he had, his vanity, his lustfulness, all kinds of different problems. He would talk to him about his foul language that he used all the time. So when Cody had this experience, he was transformed. He became a completely different person. He was on fire. He wanted to talk to everyone about his recent experiences. So he would go out onto the cell block, then he would go to all the different cells that were lined up there, and he would just start banging on people's door. First, he started with people that he kind of knew, and he would ask them questions like, he's like, "Hey, like, do you want to get to know God? I'm going to help you get to know the Lord." And they're like, "I know the Lord. Okay, I read my Bible." And he's like, "No, you don't. You don't know the Lord. I know the Lord. He talks to me. He doesn't talk to you the way he talked to me. And I'm going to help you start talking to the Lord the way he talks to me." And he was a huge bully. But there was an endearing quality about him that people were just open-minded. And so he would talk to them about his experiences and what was happening with him. And other people along the cell block, they started dreaming and having vivid dreams as well, talking to them about problems they had in their life. And there became a buzz about this throughout the whole place. What I told Cody was that as people work through this process, have them write the dream down. As soon as you wake up, write the dream down, and then if they want any help with the interpretation, you can bring me the dream, and I'll go through it, and I'll see if I can be of some help. And so that's what he did. And so people started reporting their dreams, and so he just started bringing me people's dreams, and I'd work on the interpretation. I'm a little bit more of a private person, so I didn't want to go talk to them directly, but I was still trying to do my part. And so Cody says, at this point, Jared, you're going to have to go talk to these people too. You're going to have to get up out of your little comfort bubble. You're going to start talking to these people. He started making me appointments. He's like, you've got like a 1 o'clock and a 3 o'clock. You got to go talk to cell block. You got to go talk to cell 2 and cell 7 or whatever. And so I had to get over myself. I got up. I talked to these guys. And one of the things that's important for the interpretation of dreams is to know what's going on in a person's life. When the Lord starts talking to you in dreams, He'll oftentimes talk to you about something that's been on your mind a lot lately. Why? Because you're thinking about it. Whenever you're thinking about these things, pondering on things, trying to figure things out in your life, it's like asking a question. It's like and the Holy Ghost is always with all of us all the time. So He hears us, and He hears all of our thoughts all the time. So that's what's been on your mind. That's the question you're asking. It's like you're asking the Lord, even if you don't know that you're asking the Lord. But He'll chime in. He'll talk to you about it. So that's oftentimes what He'll talk to you about. So one of the first things I do when I'm talking to someone about the interpretation of dreams, talk to them about what's going on in their life, what's been on their mind. So the Holy Ghost, He was just setting this cell block on fire, on spiritual fire. And Cody was his missionary. This tattooed down, full of hate, taught to his religion is like Viking religions. He's got Viking runes all over his neck. Just all kinds of Nazi tattoos. And they hate Jews. They hate Jesus, the Bible, anything like that. In their gang, it's very dangerous to even practice any type of Christianity. It's super frowned upon. You're likely to be attacked or killed. So here is this like long-time skinhead. He spent many years in prison, and the Lord has transformed him into a powerful missionary. Cody's dreams were just becoming very incredible at this point. One of the next dreams that he had was, I call it hot rod blessings. So Cody finds himself in a hot rod. It's this tricked out muscle car from a long time ago, and he's on this straight lane, and he has just got it floored, and he's going 60 miles an hour, 70, 80, 90. The car is in immaculate condition, absolutely beautiful, and he's just racing, flying down the road, and he's loving it. He's very excited, and he sees something up there in the distance, kind of floating in the air. It looks like this crystalline structure that's semi-transparent. It's very colorful. It's refracting different colors of light. It's very beautiful. And as he gets closer to it, he can see something written in front of it. It says blessing. So he wants it. So as he's racing at like 100 miles an hour, he veers closer to get as close as he can to this blessing box. And then when he gets really close to it, he sticks his arm out the window, and boom, he touches it with his hand. And when he does, he absorbs it. So he gets super excited. He's like, yes, like I caught the blessing. That was amazing. And then he's still flying. He's going faster, 110 now, and he sees another one. So he does the same thing, veers over and sticks his arm out the window. Boom, he collects another one. He's on fire with excitement. So he's going even faster. It's 120, 130 miles an hour. And then he sees not one, but he sees a long row of these blessing boxes. So he's super determined. He veers over close to him, reaches his arm out the window, and he just collects them all in a row. Just boom, 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 boom. Like he collects all of them. I don't know, there's dozens of them. And super satisfied with himself, having a blast, racing in this car, he wakes up. And I think that dream is it's a very powerful dream. But from my experience, one of the things the Lord uses a lot in dreams for symbolism is cars. And I say a car, the way I describe a car, so in real life, a car is a thing that you use to progress from one place to another. It's a tool to get from one place to another. So thinking about the same thing spiritually, this is how you spiritually progress from one place to another. I oftentimes car is kind of can even be like your plan of how you're moving forward in life. So it's the path that you're on. It's the future that you're going to run into. It's the plan you have to get you into that future. That's your vehicle. Now, if you have your own plans and your plans are crummy and they're very vain and earthly and they've got nothing to do with the Lord or heaven or His Word, oftentimes the Lord will show you in a crummy car. It'll have problems. It'll be breaking down. You'll try to steer left and it'll go right. You step on the brake, it hits the accelerator. Nothing works right. And so this is what He's telling you about your plan of progression. That it's going to just be very problematic, especially spiritually. And the Lord's plan is very powerful. It's absolutely beautiful. It's strong. It's an immaculate plan. So when you're in the Lord's plan and on His path of progression, you're in a muscle car. That's super powerful. It's immaculate. And you're going to progress very quickly. Everything's going to work great. And so this is what he found himself in. He found himself in the plan or the path of the Lord, in the progression of the Lord. And the Lord was just going to have him, and it was what he was doing at the time, and it was what was included in his future. Cody was very quickly progressing with the Lord, and he was collecting an incredible amount of blessings very quickly. Just incredible blessings. Helps for the future, all kinds of different protections. So that was his next dream. He had another dream that was quite similar to it. He saw the same blessing diamond sphere boxes, but they were in front of all the cells that were in the jail. And he was going door to door, talking to people about the Lord, and as he did each time, he would collect those blessing boxes. At the end of that dream, he found hundreds and hundreds of these blessing boxes floating kind of high in the air in the middle of the cell block, and he was wondering about how to get them. So Cody had, like I said, hundreds of dreams. He was dreaming every night. We were together for months. And you can oftentimes have more than one dream in a night. And you start doing this regularly, getting very close to the Lord, He'll give you 2, 3, 4, 5 dreams in a night. So this is the first video that I'm doing. And I plan for it to be the first in a series. It's, you can call it lessons, like we're in class right now. So my the first thing that I wanted to do was talk to you about some of my more powerful experiences, so that perhaps you would be somewhat open-minded to participating in this work with the Lord individually yourself. And I plan to continue to make videos to teach you more and more about the common symbolism that the Lord uses. That way it becomes easier for you to work on the interpretation of your own dreams. So I'd like to bring this video to a close. Before I do, I'll share a couple more experiences, a couple more of Cody's dreams. One of the dreams that was really memorable and powerful was Cody being in a house. He had the Spirit of the Lord standing behind him, speaking in his ear. Cody started speaking the same words that the Lord was speaking, and they were speaking in sync. The words turned into a song that Cody was singing. There was jail cells lined up through the back of the house, and as Cody and the Spirit were singing together, all the people in the cells started singing the same song, and they were all singing in sync. And the song builds up and it gets stronger until it reaches its precipice, where Cody sings about the eventual victory of Jerusalem. When Cody woke up, he actually felt kind of embarrassed because he had been singing, he felt like he'd been singing in reality. And the most perplexing thing on his mind was he had found such a beautiful way to rhyme Jerusalem in the song, in the dream, but he couldn't remember exactly how he did it. Uh, just powerful, powerful visions. I'll tell you about one more dream that he had. Cody dreamed that he was in the cell and that he was sitting at the desk and he had the Bible open. He was reading from the book of Matthew. There was somebody sitting behind him, and when he glanced and he looked, he saw that it was Jesus. To him in the dream, it seemed like the most normal thing. He was just reading the book of Matthew to Jesus. Jesus was just listening. Cody makes it through the first section, and then he wakes up. He rolls over in his sleep. He goes back to sleep, and he goes right back into the same place of the dream. He's sitting there at the desk reading the book of Matthew. He's reading to Jesus, but now he's in the second section. He reads to him for a while, and then he wakes up again. He rolls over, he goes back to sleep, and he's still reading the book of Matthew to Jesus, except he's in the third section. Cody does this 5 times. And the 5th time, Cody finishes reading the book of Matthew, and then the Lord speaks to him. And he says to him, Cody, that book is true. And Cody responded by saying, I know. I know it's true. Anyways, I'm going to end the video there. Look forward to my next videos where I'm going to talk to you more specifically about the most common types of symbolism that the Lord uses in dreams, you know, the specific type of imagery. Anyways, thank you for listening today, and we'll be with you next time. Goodbye.